Welcome, everybody. Sportsbook Review. Today is March 29th. We're winding down with March Madness. This is the Odds Couple Show. Pistol Pete, he's got a migraine headache today, so he's taking the day off. But my good friend Ross Benjamin of RBWins.com, he jumped in, took one for the team, and he is absolutely happy to do it. So with that being said, Ross, first and foremost, thanks for jumping in, and we got some games to talk about, both a little bit what happened last night, what's on slate tonight with these smaller tournaments, and then, of course, moving forward to this weekend, we got Final Four Saturday. Georgia Tech, I had them on the half and the game last night. That didn't surprise me. I really thought the strength of schedule would show on that particular game. And what I also had, Ross, on TCU, had them for the half in the game, but when I did the first half, I thought, you know what, there might be a lot of momentum in UCF right now, and Coach Dawkins will have them ready. But I think at the end, all right, Jamie Dixon will get this job done because of his experience. Now, it did play out. How did you do last night, and did you have anything on either one of those games?
I had a very, very bad night, Mike, and my migraine is probably more severe than Pete's today. Not to make light of his condition. But having said that, good calls by yourself, and you mentioned strength of schedule, and you saw an ACC team prevail over Cal State Bakersfield, who had a nice run. And also, I mean, you're talking about a Big 12 team, arguably the strongest conference from top to bottom this year in terms of quality of teams and balance. And UCF, Johnny Dawkins, great run there. Great defensive team, Mike, but not enough answers offensively. Should be a great NIT final, I think.
I think so as well, Ross. Good insight on that. Now, tonight, it's kind of, these smaller schools. St. Peter's is taking on Furman in the CIT. You got Coastal Carolina and Wyoming in the CBI. That's a tournament that they play like back-to-back. It's a home-and-home type of thing. That's interesting. Wyoming is, I believe it's -8. They lost by 10 outright at Coastal Carolina. That Coastal Carolina is a fun team to watch. And then there's another CIT game. It's Texas A&M Corpus Christi playing against Maryland, Baltimore County, UMBC. Any thoughts on any of those three games that we just touched on?
Well, I mean, first of all, let's start with Coastal Carolina. They're a little bit banged up. That's my only concern with them tonight. I mean, that's a best-of-3 series that Wyoming won the opening, Coastal Carolina won the opening game at home. You look at Coastal Carolina, Colton Ray St. Cyr. Colton Ray St. Cyr is his name, 6'5" guard, hurt his knee in the last game. He averages 9.4 points per game, had 14 points in just 22 minutes against Wyoming. He's doubtful to play tonight. Demario Beck, their 6'9" forward, also banged up a knee, and he's questionable tonight. And then, they lost Siobhan Wiggins back on March 10th for the season, another double-digit per game scorer. I just think if this is Wyoming's spot to step up here. They should have no excuses tonight. And I know they played a higher scoring game in the first outing, but I got this slight feeling, Mike, because of the losses, the banged up nature of Coastal Carolina's lineup, that this game might go under the large total of 157.5.
Wow. Very, very good insight there, Ross. Yeah, Wyoming is actually, I have them on a first half. It's going to be my official pick. So, Juan Mom, pulling the trigger, baby. Yeah, Wyoming, I got them at -4.5. I think you're absolutely right. And the reason I kind of like that under is I think that Coastal Carolina realizes, look, we got some guys banged up. We got one under our belt, and we know we're going back home. So I think what they'll try to do is put a real, she'll try to slow the pace down, and I don't think they're too concerned about that this is a must-win like it definitely is for Wyoming. So I think this is going to be a situation where Wyoming has got to take advantage of early momentum and establish this pace on their home court. So that is official for me.
Excuse me, Mikey. It's 156.5.
Okay.
It's the total. I said 157.5.
Okay, 156. That's interesting. I like that. I'm going to look a little more into that. And then, of course, you've got. Is there anything that you want to touch on with the St. Pete or Furman game? You're looking at a. What's that?
Go ahead. That St. Pete, one of the best defensive teams in the country, number 5 in scoring defense. If you like a lot of scoring, don't watch this game because it should be a knockout, drag-out affair. I'm not calling for the under here because the total is so low. But St. Peter's, the last 5 games, defensively, they've just been absolutely phenomenal, 59 points per game. They're coming off 2 road wins, and they're playing at home in this CIT semifinal. I think St. Peter's is going to be awful tough to beat on their home floor tonight, especially the way they're playing defense.
I believe so also. Pistol Pete's had a good read on them, and he was kind of leaning that way as well. And like you said, number 5 scoring defense in the country, that is, that's not a stat that can be made up. That's been a long year, and they've earned that. Now, both of these teams, ATS-wise, pretty sharp. St. Peter's is 7-2 the last 9 ATS, and Furman's 12-4 the last 16, so no stranger to cashing tickets. But I'm leaning St. Peter's way. How about that other game? You have any call whatsoever in that other CIT game between Texas A&M Corpus Christi and UMBC?
Yeah, as opposed to the other game we just discussed, the Furman St. Peter's game I just alluded to, Mike, I think this game, Texas A&M and UMBC, it's Texas A&M Corpus Christi, and UMBC. This should be an entertaining, high-scoring game to watch. Maryland, Baltimore County, 3-0. Over the total in their first 3 CIT games. They shot 47% or better in all 3, scored 80 points or more in all 3. A&M Corpus Christi scored 78 plus in their last 3. These are 2 offensively dynamic teams, and I think that we'll see a high-scoring game in this one. And this total is this high for a reason. And I also see a little bit of a reverse on the total here, Mike. We got 75% of the general public bets thus far have been made on the under, yet the total opened at 155.5 up to 157.5. Sure tell sign of sharp money going toward the over, and my sharp money as well is going to go toward the over in this game.
Well, good observation on that, and it's facts like that really, that bode well this far into the season. And again, you're looking at 2 teams. While number 1 is 50th in the nation, and the other one, UMBC, 58 in the nation. And like you said, like you touched on, it's offensive production, 46% from the field. They get a lot of guys involved, so that should be an interesting game. Now, Ross, here we go. It's Final Four Saturday. I went on record. I've got North Carolina and I got Gonzaga both on the half and the game, and I'm feeling pretty confident about them. I think that I saw this, and I'm a huge Frank Martin fan. I liked him when he was at Kansas State. He's a stern man, reminds me of Sergeant Carter from frickin' Gomer Pyle, but they love what this guy brings. This particular team bought into it. Now, in the locker room afterwards, I saw, a smile like I never saw in Frank Martin, and I also thought I sensed a relief. Well, we did it. We got there. We quenched our thirst. Are you feeling a little bit the same way, or can this general turn around and get this team as fired up again? And I'm telling you, they're going to need everything they have to keep up with Gonzaga.
Yeah, I get that sense a little bit, but let's not forget, this is both of these schools' first ever appearance in the Final Four. Now, having said that, Gonzaga's been knocking on the door year after year, right, Mike? In South Carolina, who saw this coming? If you predicted South Carolina to get to the Final Four at the beginning of the season, even at the beginning of this tournament, raise your hand. And now you can put it down because you're an absolute pathological liar.
I love it.
So... look, here's the thing. We know how good South Carolina is, good as they are defensively, right, Mike?
Yep.
Well, Gonzaga, I think the most overlooked aspect and strength of their game is their defensive play as well. I know they put up a lot of points, but this is a very good defensive team. My early lean here, I'm looking at the total of 138. I think we might see that game go under the total. Too early a call yet for me, but a very intriguing matchup. I think that we'll see more excitement in the other matchup, but this game's going to be one of those games that you may see a little bit of nerve set in, especially early on, Mike, because these teams haven't been there.
Yeah, and again, though, I think there's a lot to be said for that knocking on the door for several years, and that's the coaching staff, Gonzaga, the student body. They know what to expect, and I think that is just enough as an advantage for them also to realize we can't let another BYU come in here and beat us, and I really think they're going to get it done. Now, North Carolina, I just think, this could be a shootout. Who knows? But something tells me that coaching, and taking nothing away from the coaching staff of Oregon, I really think that the full coaching staff for North Carolina, they experienced themselves, and with the depth of that bench, I think they're going to get it done. Any thoughts on that, or do you see possibly an advantage for our viewers on a total?
Well, let's start with the side here. I mean, here's the thing. We talked about this in previous shows, Mike, the loss of Boucher, Oregon's big man.
Yep.
Now, the kid played great. His name escapes me off the top of my head. The center from Oregon played great against Kansas. He was a one-man wrecking crew underneath. But I think this is a game where it might catch up to Oregon with Boucher out. North Carolina, best offensive rebounding team in the country. They're just relentless on the boards, size and length. Again, too early a call for me, but I think that you're right. I think that aspect of the game, I think, makes a slight lean toward North Carolina early on here.
Yeah, and also, Oregon's coach Dana Altman, he had mentioned in an interview in the last few days that Boucher's injury might start showing up against this type of quality of a team. Yeah. So you touched exactly on that. And again, taking nothing away from Altman, their coaching staff in Oregon, this is a team, and I'm not saying it because I said it before the tournament started, this is my winner. I think North Carolina's taking this thing all the way. I really think this is their year. I don't think there's anything or anybody right now that can stop them. And I think
agree,
deep
Mike.
down, and they know that, Ross. They're looking around in that locker room going, there's no Kentucky, there's no Duke, all right, there's no Kansas. This is ours. Let's go get this thing. And
let's not forget, Mikey, last year they lose the championship game in heartbreaking fashion against Villanova with that three-pointer at the buzzer by Chris Jenkins. So this is a team that's, pretty honed in and pretty focused, and they want to finish the job, I should say, this year as opposed to last.
And I go off of emotion and momentum, Ross, and I'm glad that you brought that up because there's not been a lot of people talking about that salt in that wound last year. And again, taking nothing away from Villanova, that was beautiful, it was amazing. But North Carolina, they have not forgot that one bit. And I guarantee you, as quick as they were celebrating the other day, they shut that down real quick and said, okay, now we got our work to do because we're going to go back and take what was rightfully ours last year that we let slip away. Great insight. I love it, and that's why I love doing videos.
If I could add in too, Mike, the only concern I have with North Carolina right now is the status of their point guard, who's got both ankles injured. And, Oregon's guards, Mike, are tremendous. And they're going to be asked to carry the load here. And they could single-handedly possibly keep this team in the game, if not pull the outright upset. So like I said, early call for me, but I tend to agree with you. I mean, North Carolina right now looks like the team to beat, hands down. Yeah, and I think you're going to see some, as they always like to say, it's next man up, all right, because that young man's got his hands full. He's going to, as Pete would say, they better shoot him up with some good drugs, whatever the NCAA can get away with, because he's going to need it to keep up with those point guards. But I think it's a next man up thing, and I think the reason that will play out is because exactly what you said, watching that last three-pointer last year that destroyed their hopes. All right, you heard it, viewers. Ross Benjamin, rbwins.com. Ross, give a well-deserved plug for your website, my man. rbwins.com is where you could find me. That's where I release all my games that I personally wager on and my paying clients receive. Great subscription prices. I almost said prescription. Subscription prices, weekly, monthly, daily, and also annually. So that's rbwins.com. Look, folks, if you want me to tailor a package directly for you, you could just call me direct at that 781-571-0299, 781-571-0299. That's my personal cell. That's how transparent I am, Mike. And hopefully I don't get a call from Paulie Provenzano, who wants me to pick a couple 2-3 winners.
That's right. And then one thing that I love the most about rbwins.com, where you pay a little and you make a lot, baby. Yeah, I was going to say, you need to tailor make a different type of package for Paulie Provenzano and tell him to stick it where the sun don't shine. On the serious note, though, viewers, we have a lot of fun here, all right, and we have a lot of laughs, but I'm not saying this because I'm doing the videos with the man. I watch, I study, I follow his patterns where he goes. It's effective, and it cashes tickets, and he is sharp. So do yourself a favor. You owe it to yourself in this industry. All right, rbwins.com. Don't sell yourself short, because that right there is an investment. It's not a gamble. All right, Ross, thanks for jumping in, taking one with the team. As always, it's a pleasure working with you. And one of these days, my man, we're going to have that glass of wine.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me once again, Mike.
Well, this episode of The Odds Couple is over. But if you give us a like and click SBR's logo at the bottom of the screen to subscribe, then you'll get all the upcoming videos as soon as they come out. And don't forget to take advantage of our website. There's free picks, live betting lines, and sportsbook reviews and ratings guides, and a whole lot more. Check it out now.